Get ready, and let's talk. This is Let's Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Pastor Yaz. I am here with this beautiful woman right here that you all going to have the opportunity to meet because she has a story, she has a legacy. She just, just one zestful, beautiful woman. And we're going to get into the conversation about that. But before we do that, I always ask that you pray for your city. Pray for the city where you live. Pray for each other. Because there's a lot going on in this world today, and the truth of the matter is that we all need prayer. Wouldn't you agree? So today, again, we are here in Cordele, Georgia, and I'm going to let this beautiful young lady introduce herself, and we're going to get into the conversation about why we are here live again right here in Cordele, Georgia. But before we go there, I want my background people to give it up for Cordele, Georgia. In the house. So tell us your name.
My name is Lucille Harris.
And Lucille Harris, and you're a native of Cordele, Georgia. So I tell you, here in Cordele, Georgia, it is beautiful outside, and just on this beautiful Sunday, again, we are live here in Cordele, Georgia. So tell me, I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we're going to get into some conversation. Now, you are...
I am Holly Walters. I serve as the president of the Rho Sigma Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me a little bit about, your sorority.
Well, my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, is the first Black Greek organization for women founded January 15th, 1908 on the campus of Howard University. And so ever since that time, 1908, we've been leading the way, trailblazers and leading for others to follow. It's very important for us that we encourage high scholastic efforts with women and ethical standards also for women.
That is awesome. So how long have you been?
I have been a member of the organization. This year will be 28 years.
28
years.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And so, this beautiful woman here, who is she to you?
So, Soror Lucille, as I call her, but she now has a new name. She's what we call our Pearl Soror. I've been knowing her for about 10 years, about 10, 15 years. To me, what she is to me is she embodies someone who brings guidance to the chapter. When she walks in the room, I can tell you this, she brings peace to our chapter.
Wow.
When she comes in, we think it's very necessary to honor her. So when she comes in, we stand, we clap for her, because it's indeed an honor to be a member of anything for 65 years.
65 years.
65 years. And so what she is to me is she brings peace. She reminds me that we have to love and know our sisters, but to love each other in
for
everything.
65 years. Ms. Harris, do you remember the day that you became a part of this sorority?
Oh, yes. There's no way you will forget it.
Tell me what it's like. Tell me what it's like. Uh-oh, I'm getting ready, y'all.
Oh, it's like going... Well, in the first place, when I went into the sorority, I went in the old times when you really went in.
Uh-huh.
And of course, you were so happy when you crossed the burning sands. And it cannot be explained, but I can remember it so well because I had certain big sisters, as we call them then, that I was going to get if I ever became an AKA.
Right, you was going to do that, huh?
That was one thing I was going to get. I said, if I ever become... I'm going to get her.
You gonna get So when you look at the sorority back when you started versus now, what is a noticeable change that you can see or identify with?
The most noticeable change is that these young ladies don't have to go through hazing.
Mm-hmm.
And,
is that good, or is that a good thing, or is that how would you categorize that? You think it's a necessity?
No, because why you're going into the sorority has nothing to do with what they have you doing.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, I guess they had us doing what we were doing to see if we could endure or take the punishment that they gave us.
Now back then, what were they doing?
We don't want to tell that.
Oh, okay. She said, "No, baby, we don't want to tell that." So, do you think that even back then, was it one of those type things that made you better? You think you're better now with the hazing back then versus the sorority today?
No, I don't think that would make you. It would not have made.
So you think it was very unnecessary?
Unnecessary. Unnecessary. There
Now-
were some good things that we did,
Right.
you know,
Right.
but some of the things were completely unnecessary.
Gotcha. So what do you think about that?
About hazing,
Uh-huh.
I agree with what she says. It has, if you're wanting people to come into your organization and serve the community, and you're gonna call them sisters, why would you take them through anything unnecessary? So we're totally against it. Our sorority does not condone it at all, and so I agree with her. It doesn't make you any better of a sorority member to have gone through that than to show love.
Right. Now, sorority are mainly comprised of what group of profession? Is it mainly teachers?
Well, for not all, but for our chapter, a lot of the majority, I would say, are educators.
Educators.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Harris, were you an educator?
Yes,
How many years?
40.
And you still educating, aren't you?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, ma'am. Now, you taught school here in Cordele?
Yes, I taught school my first year at Fitzgerald.
That's my hometown.
That's what I taught.
How about that? Fifth year in the house?
Oh yeah, been real.
Okay. So your first job was in Fitzgerald, so you retired here in Cordele?
Yes, that's the only place that I taught 1 year in Fitzgerald, the other 39 in Cordele.
Wow, and you've been retired for how long?
I don't know.
It's been,
I
she said she,
I tried to remember, I don't know, I just.
long time ago, let's put it that way.
That's right, because I was trying to, I know I started teaching in
24. Your daughter says 24.
24. Okay,
And
24.
24 years.
Okay. So, now, you're an educator as well?
I am.
Okay, now what do you teach?
So I'm a school administrator and principal in Dooley County.
Dooley County.
It's a funny thing that you're bringing up about education and her. Even though she taught and worked here in Chris,
Uh-huh.
I'm in Dooley, which is only about a 10-minute drive from here. You hear people still talk about her.
Wow.
Everybody knows Miss Harris.
Now,
Everybody knows.
that's a legacy.
Yeah, it is. So
That is a
it just
legacy.
speaks to her and what she stands for and what she's all about. But they remember you. They still.
You know, I taught in Dooley County 1 year.
Okay.
After I retired, one of their teachers, when they were going through the testing that the teachers had to have,
Mm-hmm.
one of their language arts teachers had not passed the test and needed somebody, seniors, because they were getting ready to go to college. So I had the opportunity to
Work over there.
work there.
Wow, that is amazing. So let me ask you this, Ms. Harris. In your years of being a part of this organization, this sorority, I'm sure that there are many, many people that you all have helped, you have assisted. Many people, lives have been changed. Tell me one moment that you can remember, or one story that you can remember that was such a life-changing moment for you as being a part of the AKA. Sorry.
I don't know what you would call this, but Barbara, who is one of the persons that I took in, wanted to become an AKA. She had started working on that in Mississippi, and she asked someone, I think, who was an AKA on the campus, and they told her me. I was getting ready to leave that day to come home, and I saw this person run across the campus, Miss Harris, Miss Harris. And she came and told me her story. I said, okay. We'll get you in. That was just so enlightening to me.
Where's she at?
She's sitting back there.
Hey, Miss Harry.
Miss Barbara.
Miss Barbara.
Miss Barbara.
Yeah.
I mean, Miss Barbara.
Come here.
How you doing? You ain't gotta come right now. You
Okay,
gotta
I'm doing
come.
great.
We just saying hey.
Yes.
So what are some of your memorable moments?
I just remember we had for a while in our sorority, when you've been a member for 25 years, you're silver. At 50 years, you're considered a golden soror, as we call it. And so I just remember we had a couple of golden sorors within our chapter. Soror Eddie Real Walker and Soror Harris. And I just remember those two working together, working in tandem. And so it's almost like they tag team. She worked in Sumter in the community, making sure that service was provided to anyone who needed it. And she took her reins down here in Cordele and made sure that this community, this local community, was also serviced as they needed. And so I just remember her and Soror Eddie Ray Walker being just the golden sorors that they are, but leading the way for everyone else. They were really, Soror Walker has transitioned, but they were who we looked up to, who we wanted to be like, still serving even after so many years. Because you have so many that they become AKAs and that's it.
That's it. They just
But
want the name.
They just
want
want to wear the
association.
letters.
Yeah.
But to be active, she comes
Right.
to chapter meetings, she comes to service. We had
Wow.
a service project this in January, the MLK celebration. I think it was that one. Whichever one, she came in just as sharp as a tack, looking good, and still serving her community. So those are the things that I remember that she led the way, sets the example for the rest of us to want to follow.
Awesome. That is awesome. Okay, we're back with Let's Talk Radio Show. I am live here in the city of Cordele, Georgia, at the home of Miss Harris, an icon in the community with the AKA sorority. And I have with us
I'm Tion Mayweather.
Tiana Mayweather.
Yes.
That's it right, Tiana Mayweather?
Tion.
Tion. And so how long have you been AKA?
I have been an AK for 2 years now.
For 2 years?
Yes.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. How does it feel to be a AKA?
It feels amazing. I have a story kind of similar to Barbara's.
Okay. And your story is?
I have been trying to pledge AKA since undergraduate, and I called Miss Harris one day, and I think this was my last time trying, and I called, I said, well, Miss Harris, I need some guidance. I've been trying to pledge AKA up here. I live in Atlanta. And she said, well, we just got recommendation forms today. I'll put your name down because this was my last time trying. And I said, well, this must be it. Because I graduated college in 1994, and I think this was, right before the pandemic. So this was around 2019. And so it worked out. I had to wait another, 2.5 years because that was right at the beginning of the pandemic. So,
Right.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. There's a generation between Ms. Harris, yourself, and the president.
Yes.
Okay, those 3 different generations that we have.
Yes.
And throughout those generations, there have been some changes. There have been, as the world turns, there have been some situations that cause changes to happen. And a lot of times, especially in this generation that we live right now, can be such difficult. So, coming from your generation to your vice president generation to Ms. Harris, your president generation to Ms. Harris generation, what is the difference that you think?
I think I live in a generation where communication happens at warp speed sometimes, and I find myself sometimes having to intentionally slow down and just pay attention to what's going on and trying to get all the information in that I can take in. So I have to try to be a good listener. And then I think I was talking to one of the sorors when we were coming in here. I'm chairing the gala for Ms. Harris that's celebrating her, and we were talking about programs, and I was speaking with the person that's handling the programs because we were going to do digitized programs. And then I thought about it. I was like, we're celebrating 65 years, which means that most of the people who are coming there are probably Miss Harris's age, so we can just scrap the digital programs and have paper programs. It's no point in trying to get people to pull up programs on their cell phone. Just trying to be intentional about the generation gap.
Because if you bring them digital programs in there, Miss Harris gonna tell you, baby, we don't deal with this.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you look at Miss Harris and her legacy and her just dedication, how does that inspire you? Well, before you ask that, Miss Harris, when we look at her generation of AKAs, what do you see in her generation that was not happening in your generation? I know it's a lot, but that main thing that stands out.
I'm trying to see. I have known Tiana since she was born, so she stayed up on the corner up here for me. So it's hard for me to say because she's just like one of my grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And I can't. Tiana is different from her generation because she has a set goals and. Goals she has really reached. She's able to communicate with my generation as well as others. And I have the highest respect for her because, to me, I see nothing wrong with her, maybe, but she's just one of mine. And let me mention this one. When Tiana was born,
She finna go. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead. She was born. I'm finna get ready to laugh at you, so go ahead.
I took Tiana a pink dress. I didn't realize that, so Tiana said I must have meant for her to be an AKA because I took a little pink dress to her. And I kept her with Tiana all the way.
Oh, wow.
Through high school, all the way. I taught Tiana's mama, too.
Mm-hmm.
And her grandmama and I was about the same age.
So when she brought you that pink dress, what were you thinking?
Well, I was just born, so.
She didn't know.
When she was just born?
This is legendary in my family.
What the dress at now?
I have no idea. I wish I could say I passed it out to my daughters though.
But you was planting the seed, Miss Harris. What you was planting the seed?
Yes.
Man, that is awesome. If you had now that you have the opportunity, and I'm pretty sure you have already done this, but I want you to say something to her. I want you to give her some flowers right now.
I think I try to always give Miss Harris her flowers. I can remember.
I want you to talk to her. I want you to tell her.
You remember when I was in college, I was going through a real hard time, and I wrote you that letter back.
Yes, I got that. I still have the letter.
You always remind me that you had that letter.
Still have it.
Yeah, and I give you your flowers now, and I appreciate everything that you have deposited into my life, and not just bringing me into the sorority, but you have always been someone I knew I could come to. Not just when I needed something, but when I needed someone, and I appreciate that.
All right. Girl, you back made me cry. That is awesome.
But you asked me a question about inspiration. I wanted to answer that because Miss Harris has really been a huge inspiration in my life. Mm-hmm. Because Miss Harris has been one of those people. She watches out for kids in her community. Mm-hmm. I can remember specifically being in high school, and I was an undergrad. And I had the GPA to graduate as an undergrad, and Ms. Harris told me to go up to the office and make sure your name is on the list to graduate as an undergrad. And I was like, I was a typical teenager, I knew it all, and I was like, well, Ms. Harris, I got a 3-point whatever GPA. And she was like, girl, I said, go up to that office and make sure your name is on that list, because she knew something that I didn't know.
Right.
It's like just because you earn something does not mean people will give it to you. Absolutely. And that's something that I'll never forget about her.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. All right, we will be right back with Let's Talk Radio Show. Okay, we're live right here in Cordele, Georgia with Let's Talk Radio Show.
What?
Okay, they're live up here in Miss Harris' residence. All right. So, listen, we have, right now, I'm going to let him introduce himself.
I'm Isaac Owens.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, that's Isaac on y'all. So tell us, you're a native of Cordele, Georgia. So tell us a little about yourself.
Well, not a native, but I've been here long enough now that everybody thinks I'm a native.
How long you been here?
Right at 40.
You're native. So tell us about tell us about Isaac Owens.
I'm Isaac Owens. I am the pastor of the Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church, the historic Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church here in Cordele. And for the last 16 years, I've been serving as Mrs. Harris's pastor.
Awesome, awesome. So when you talk about Ms. Harris, when you think about Ms. Harris, who is Ms. Harris to you?
Well, my relationship with Mrs. Harris is twofold. She taught me in high school, so she saw me grow into many of the things that I do now. She helped propel me into understanding that it's okay to be different, that you don't have to walk to the tune of everybody else's beat, and you never have to do what everybody expects you to do, but you can do it and map out your own way. And Mrs. Harris, along with another one of my teachers who we'll be talking to later on, helped me to realize that it's okay for people to see you, but you don't have to be what they want you to be. You can be what you want to be. Right. And that's something I've carried with me even now. So that was the first part of me knowing Mrs. Harris.
So when you look at the legend and the all of the accolades that Ms. Harris has laid in her past, how would you just describe her in one word?
Teacher.
Teacher.
Teacher. Because in our life, we teach every day in so many different ways. As a teacher in school, as a teacher in the community, as a teacher in the church, because there's always somebody looking to get something from you that's going to benefit them later on. And a true teacher always uses a moment to teach a very valuable lesson. And that's been Mrs. Harris in the classroom, that's been her in the community, and that's been her in the church. She takes advantage of what's presented to her, and she never allows us to feel that we are, for lack of a better word, insufficient.
Ms. Harris, during those times, during those days, was it quite difficult for you, as a teacher?
Yes, it was, and it was difficult because I knew that nobody was going to control my classroom but me, and eventually everybody, including the principal. I asked the principal one day, he came in, I asked him, what are you doing? I'm just walking around. I said, okay. He kept walking around. I said, oh, you came to observe me. You don't have to just walk around. If you came to observe me, just let me know, and we'll go from there. So I had no trouble with administrators. I respect authority, but I don't want you to come in and take over.
You had even when you just telling that story, you looking like you mean that right now. Your whole face changed. And look at yeah. That is awesome. And so when you go back in your education days, at what point did you decide that you wanted to become a part of the AKA?
Oh.
How long had you been teaching there?
I was already an AKA when I got here.
Oh, you walked in? Okay,
I became an AKA in 1958.
Wow.
When I went to Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the first 6 weeks or something like that, they don't allow the Greeks to wear their paraphernalia, but you still see different people. You find them when they put it on. You know who they are, and I immediately knew that I was an AK. I was born an AK.
You were born an AK.
And I knew that, so therefore.
They're on pink and green diapers.
That's right. Cried, they put on another coat.
She said she cried, they put on another color. How about that?
But from the beginning. I did not know, my stepsister is an AKA, but I did not know it because her dad and my mama married. I was in college, and she was out teaching someplace. And I saw that pink and green thing on the wall, but I didn't know what it was all about. And when she came home, and I told her that I pledged, and she said, "You did?" But she was scared to ask me, where did you go? I said, AKA. And she just grabbed me and hugged me. I said, yeah, that was it. And one thing about it, I never thought of, you know how you switching from one thing to the other. Once I said AKA, that was it. I never thought. I talked about AKA so that when they had the rush parties, the Zetas did not invite me.
That was just confirmation, wasn't it?
They did not even invite me.
How about that?
I want to say this
Sure.
about Pastor Owens.
Pastor Owens.
Yes, that's what I call it. And that was hard to get used to him telling me what to do.
Okay, we are back with Let's Talk a Radio Show right here live in Cordele, Georgia. We are live and we are in the home of Ms. Harris here in Cordele, Georgia. And when I tell you I'm just straight filled right now. Okay, I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Got no green glasses. Look at her. Look at her now. Got her green glasses.
Hello, I'm Barbara P. Bryant.
She put the emphasis on P.
Yes, that's my family name, initial for my family.
Gotcha. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the story when I first met. I call it Soror Month Lucille. So I coined the term Month Lucille. My first year teaching in Cordele, and as my Lucille was saying earlier, I was pledging undergrad and our line was stopped. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get my letters whenever I get to a grad chapter. And I saw this lady walking across the campus with an AKA shirt on. And I started running to her. I said, hey, didn't know her name. I said, hey, just waiting, flagging her down, and found caught up with her. And I heard of Miss Lucille Harris. So I said, hey, I need to become an AKA. I was pledging undergrad, our line didn't finish, and I need to get my letters. So that was in 1993. So in 1994, they had a spring line, and Miss Lucille recommended me to become part of that chapter. I wrote Sigma Omega in 1994.
Wow, that is awesome. So tell us what does she mean to you?
That month, because I'm from Mississippi originally, and my mother is away from me, over 500 miles. And I told my mother, I said, I have a mother in Georgia now. And I've been with my Lucille for about 30 years now. And we travel together. We have been to clusters, regional, boulets. I've been the one that would drive and take my Lucille around Washington, D.C. And a funny story about that, she hadn't traveled in a while since the pandemic, and we went to Washington, D.C., and my Lucille didn't know about the luxury with the wheels on it. And can you imagine me in the airport carrying her luggage? I wasn't going to let her carry anything. I had her luggage, I had mine, and you know, I had to be patient. And she hadn't traveled in a while, and things had changed so much. And so she looked after me, and now I'm looking after her. And she need a ride, someone she'll call, you going to the meeting? I need a ride. And I said, just let me know, and I would take her on, and I'm always there anytime she needs me.
All right. Ms. Harris, how does it feel to you to have just sitting here and reminiscing, hearing some of the stories from way back when? But that has to be such an awesome feeling to know that you have such an impact on the lives of the old and the young.
I just feel like they're mine.
Can I be yours too?
Yeah. Just like they are my children. That's what I call them.
You know, that is something that, in particularly this generation needs, and that is someone like yourself, that have paved the way, that have was one of those that lived in the village to raise our children. And one of the things, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that actually ran across my mind, it ran across my mind quite often, even when I came in here and I saw this table, this long, beautiful, real table. And back when I was growing up, there were, we had a certain time to eat dinner. And the whole family would be sitting at the table at 6:30. And at the table, mom, dad asked me how was school, what you learned. We talked about the Bible. We talked about what was going on. We talked about the things of life. It was a lot learned at the table. A lot was learned at the table. And nowadays, there's nobody sitting at the table. There's nobody sitting at the table, so the parents is not connecting with the children because nobody is sitting at the table. And when there's nobody sitting at the table, you're left with a generation that we have now because nobody is sitting and learning at the table. And so when you have people such as yourself that literally was at the table with family, with these people that are honoring you, it says a lot about you, and I applaud you for that myself. I'm very humbled to even be here, to even be a part of this historical interview that's going to be seen throughout the country, that's going to be seen for years to come. So I thank you for being that one in the table. So when you look at when you look at just that particular story, wouldn't you agree there's nobody at the table?
There's nobody at the table because we have I'm alone now, and my grandson, we have a time with him not wanting to be at the table because when his mama and his uncle were here, we sat at the table. We all went over what went on during that school day, and I decided what in my mind who I was gonna get if I had to get someone. The next day, I'm talking teachers now. I'm talking.
Right.
But that's what we did. We all ate at the table. And when I was growing up, we ate at the table.
Okay, we're live right here in Cordele, Georgia, with Let's Talk Radio Show. Okay, I'm gonna let these two young ladies introduce themselves right here.
Okay, I'm Betty Deriso.
And
I'm Juanita Wilson.
Juanita Wilson. So, tell us about Miss Betty.
Betty Deriso met Miss Harris when she was a senior in high school. And Miss Harris took me under her wings then, the first time I met her, because I was in their debutante pageant. I was one of their debs in that pageant. And then I went on to college, and after that, I came to work where she worked, at Chris County. She said, I heard this name of Deriso coming in here, trying to figure out who is that, because I was a Hamilton then. And she didn't put the name, because they had already decided that I was a white woman, because Deriso was a white name. But Miss Harris took me under her wings, and in 1992, I came over as an AKA because Miss Harris was my sponsor. And she is, at Chris County High School, she was the mother of us all. And she has been an inspiration in my life because she made me be the teacher that I became, because everybody said Miss Harris and Miss Deriso walking the road together. I'm not going to let these folks take over, not going to let them run over us,
Right.
Because we were strong black women who stood for what we needed to stand for,
Right.
and we prevailed. Amen.
She didn't say amen, did she? Amen.
Me in.
Amen. Okay, and you are?
I'm Juanita Wilson, and in 1989, the Rustic Mega chapter was formed in Americus, Georgia.
That's your hometown?
That's my hometown.
Okay, okay.
Sure.
Americus, Georgia.
Yes. Anyway, in 1990, the year after the chapter was organized, my mentor, Edaria Walker, told me that I was going to become an AKA. Well, in telling me that I was going to become an AKA, which I wanted to be now, don't get me wrong.
You start believing it.
But she then introduced me to my other mentor, Miss Lucille Harris. And what I found out was Miss Walker, Edaria, she recommended me, and Miss Lucille seconded the motion. In other words, you had to have someone to write a letter to say that you were worthy of becoming a sister, and she wrote the letter for me to become a sister. I've been Miss Harris's bachelor's for twice, in my younger days, and then now in my mid years.
Your younger days still.
Yeah.
Your younger days still.
My younger days now. But in being her bachelor's, the one thing that stood out was she was my encourager. I mean, regardless of which rank it was, which 4 years it was, she always had a positive word. She always would let me know what I was doing right, but now she also told me what I was doing wrong.
Right.
But she told me in such a way,
A loving way.
yes, that it didn't hurt, but it made me want to improve.
Right.
And from that moment on, she's just been a role model. I mean, when she enters the room, I watch her and I look at her because I know that between she and Edaria, I always wanted to be like those ladies.
How about that?
Distinguished, defined.
Distinguished. So let me ask you this, Ms. Harris, if you will. What is the distinguished difference between AKA, Deltas, any of the other sororities?
Well,
Did he put them in the same sentence?
that's what I say.
However you do it, answer
It's like this. We are the first, the best, and the finest. That's all I say.
You couldn't put it no better.
We
What
are-
about you? What's your take?
That's it. There's none other like AKA. None other.
Service to humanity. That's what we are about. So that helps with us being the first and the finest.
Let me ask you this. Is there a such thing as, and I don't know, don't jump on me for this, is there a such thing, or has it ever happened when different sororities got together to do anything?
Always.
Always.
Really?
We have a
We
Pan
call,
American.
yes, we call ourselves the Divine Nine,
And we work together.
and we work together.
Absolutely. That's where I was going with it. I
And
knew
we
that.
love each other.
That's
right,
You know.
right.
That's
We have unity.
that
We
is
have our
awesome.
Founders Day and they're there with us. to
So
come.
let me ask you this. Now, when you look at the difference between the generation of sororities and today's generation versus your generation, what's the difference?
I feel like, and I don't know about sorority, but I feel my generation, or when I first entered the sorority, and I talk about it all of the time, we were more formal. Communications were not like it is now. I mean, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have all of this technology which they're trying to teach me, but we were more rigid, I would say, you know, more formal,
Yes.
you know.
What about you?
I see it the same way. We dealt with each other more personal
Yes.
than what happens now because everything is fast. Wherein we took time to just lay it on the table and let's just look at it and then go from that and figure it out instead of us running and then looking back.
So in other words, we're like You all was more like an urban generation. We in a microwave generation.
Oh,
right?
yes,
Yes.
definitely so.
And I'm
You got it right.
I'm the wood stove generation.
Oh, good. And literally that it makes a difference.
It makes a difference.
Because when you are, I mean, you know, no matter how, like this generation, today's generation want things quick, fast, and hurry.
Yes, yes.
And when you want things quick, fast, and hurry, you miss out on a lot of stuff. But if you just take your time, just take your time. There is a such thing, I like to use this phrase a lot, there is a such thing as take your time and hurry up.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So take your time and hurry up. And so I wanted to ask that question because a lot of times, even you know, in a younger generation that deals with other things other than sororities, this generation need to learn how to just take your time and hurry up.
Yes.
You know, stop wanting stuff quick, fast, and hurry. And this technology have trained this generation to be like that.
Yes.
You know, but I'm like y'all. I'm a urban. I ain't no wooden stove, but I'm glad it was a wooden stove.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Okay, that's right. But I like to microwave my grits though. But listen, she would not eat microwave grits at all. But say what? You either? You got another sorry. I ain't gonna eat mine. But Miss Harris, I certainly would like to just thank you. Can we just give her some love?
She's a rock.
Miss Harris. Oh man, indeed, this has been such an awesome interview. Awesome time spent with you, hearing about the different stories and how you have helped people in their lives and how you encourage people. I mean, just an amazing accomplishment, and I just don't know what to say other than I thank you for all that you have done, and all the difference that you have made in the lives of all the sisters and pastors that came to speak for you. And so I'm just waiting on this celebration next Saturday, and we're gonna have a good time. Miss Harris, do you dance?
Listen, Lindsay, they what, and I didn't realize what they meant. I'm in a social club, the Valerie Social and Civic Club, and I heard them say, do the Madam Chairman, do the Madam Chairman. I found in my dance they had named it.
They named your dance.
The Madam Chairman. I was the president, so they named it the Madam Chairman. They said, oh yeah, you got it now.
So we're gonna do the Madam Champion at the game. We're gonna do that.
Yeah,
We're gonna do that, y'all.
Yes.
We're gonna do it, y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
after I teach them.
After you teach it. Oh man, listen. Once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our sponsors that sponsors Let's Talk Radio Show. Thank you for allowing Let's Talk Radio Show to be in your home to get this awesome historical event. And we will see you on Thursday on Let's Talk Radio Show. Have a good one.